Hey there, everyone. It's Lorraine Rise. Welcome. Welcome to From Public to Private, Navigating the Federal Layoffs. So it's going to take a minute, I'm sure, for people to come in, but I'm so happy that you are here. So what we are going to do is spend about 45 minutes together or so. And I'm going to first tell you a little bit about who I am and why I'm speaking on this topic. And then I want to give a lot of tips and a lot of information to help those who are in the public sector to transition into the private sector. Because just in case you guys haven't noticed, there's a whole lot going on in the federal world right now. There's a lot of upheaval going on, and I am going to be keeping an eye also on the comments here. So if you see me kind of look over a little bit, I might be doing that. But I also want to really just connect with you guys. So the first thing I'm going to say is when you come in, please tell me who you are. We're going to try and keep an eye on the comments and have a little bit of some dialogue going. So that would be amazing. Tell me in the comments, whatever you want to share. You can tell me who you are, where you're from. You can tell me maybe if you're in the federal workforce, what is your job title or your industry, and maybe even a snippet about your situation would be absolutely amazing. So looks like people are coming in. I'm so excited. I can't wait for you guys to say hello. All right. Okay. There I am, just making sure it's all working. Okay, you guys, amazing. So come on in, say hello. Yep. Hi, Brianne. I see some people coming in. Hello. Tell me again who you are, maybe where you're from, a little bit about what you do in your situation, just a sentence or so. I would love to know. And I would also love to know if you have any questions. So go ahead now, pop it in the chat. If you have a question about how to transition from the public to the private sector, pop it, and we will get to it at some point throughout the whole presentation. But let me do this. Let me tell you really briefly who I am. So if you don't know who I am yet, I'm Lorraine Rise. It's nice to meet you. I'm based here in the Washington, D.C. area. I am born and raised here. So let me tell you, the federal world is in my backyard. Okay, my local news is national news. It's kind of one and the same. So it's a unique position to be in. That means this is also a topic that is really near and dear to me. You cannot stretch your arm out in this area and not hit a government contractor or a government building of some kind. This is kind of the home base, right? Living in what we call the DMV area. So I also, in addition to career uprising, my coaching and resume writing firm, which is 10 years in business right now, you guys, 10 years this year. So exciting. In addition to that, in my previous life, I've done recruiting specifically within the government contracting field. So I've got 6 years of experience actually recruiting for technical positions on government contracts for a number of three-letter agencies, all of the TSSCI, either CI Poly or full scope Poly. So the highest level of clearance. I have about 6 years recruiting for those. And let me tell you, it's a different animal than the private sector. It's a whole different culture. It's a different pace. It's a different hiring process. We're going to get into all of that. So I can see a few of you. Bree, hello. Thank you from Atlanta. Kelly, also looks like from Atlanta. Okay. About to retire and see if you're terminated. Okay, good. I like going out on your own terms. I like that. Eleanor, hello. So thank you all for coming in and for joining. And feel free to pop questions into the chat, and I will make sure I get to them, or maybe my assistant if I miss it. But what I want to do is let's talk for just a minute about what is happening here, right? And I'm not going to take a position either way. I am not here to make a political statement. Sorry, guys. I'm not. I'm not going to say this should be happening, this shouldn't be happening. That doesn't even matter, in my opinion. What matters is that it's happening right now. It's happening. and I want to be a part of the solution. And there's no doubt that there are thousands of people right now who are about to flood the job market, and they may not have experience in the private sector, but they may be transitioning to the private sector. A lot of these people might be taking this opportunity to leave the government, whether it's by choice or by not. And that can be jarring. It can be scary. I was laid off 5 times in 7 years in my 20s. I pretty much spent my 20s job searching. I know all about that. Okay. So it's not fun, especially when you did not choose it. And what is also really unique about this situation is that with government employees, a lot of times you make your career there, right? You know, tenure, somewhat, or you have, pension programs. It's really a system based a lot on tenure and loyalty, and people tend, not, but tend to stay for a long time. So, if you think make your career somewhere and that's your plan and you're in that mindset, and then this is forced upon you, you might be unprepared. You might feel really scared, you might be unprepared, and you might not know how to look for a job outside of the government. So, what today is going to be about is what are some of the key differences? What are some of the things that I can share with you to get you started and pointed in the right direction for how you can start to look for a job outside the government? Okay. So, let's go ahead and dive in. And for a second, hi, Brian. I see you there. Thank you so much. Okay, systems engineering background. I have recruited for so many systems engineers on all kinds of contracts. Okay, so you live in Northern Virginia. You are my neighbor. So wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. Really, really appreciate that. Looking forward to questions that you guys have, if you have any at the end of this. So, okay, so like I said, born and raised here. 6 years of government contract experience recruiting, but also experience recruiting in the private sector. So I know the differences between the two. Let's dive in a little bit. Let's talk about what industries you might want to target if you are leaving the government and kind of going, well, what do I do now? Where who's going to want me from here? Well, your experience in the government is valuable. It is very valuable. You just have to know where it might fit in, and that's going to be a little bit of a process, right? So, a couple of things you can think about. Of course, the most obvious one is government contracting. A lot of people who come out of the military or federal service transition into contracting, and you might be seeing the government contracting industry blow up even more here. So, if definitely if you're in the Northern Virginia, Maryland area, you have a lot of contractors to choose from. But even if you're not, there are definitely some spread out through the rest of the country. So what I would do, I'm a huge fan of using AI. If you are not using AI in your job search, you are behind. All right, this is something I teach my coaching clients how to do, public or private, doesn't matter. I would suggest a prompt such as this. Go into Perplexity, which is my favorite one. ChatGPT is great too. Perplexity is amazing. I should do a commercial for them. I love it for research. Career path research, company research is one of my go-to tools. Okay. Put in a prompt telling it what's going on, that you're a federal employee, this is the agency that you came from, this is the work that you did, you're looking to transition into the private sector. What are some of the top industries that would like your experience? Contractors are one. I think depending on what you did, consulting could be an option also. Um, think about other industries, maybe healthcare, or even tech too, where there's a lot of regulations. A lot of people who come from government know about compliance and policies and regulations. There's a lot of private companies out there who have to have follow those and be aware. Maybe they do business with the government or follow regulations set by a government agency. That can be really valuable. That's a great angle to come from. So put a prompt into ChatGPT or Perplexity just to get you started, and ask it, what are some of the top industries that would be logical or attractive for me to target, given my experience doing X, Y, Z at this agency? The better the prompt you give it, the better the response that you're going to get. Hi, Tammy. Hi there. Thank you so much for being here to support me. Love that. So that's the first thing I would do. And what's neat about Perplexity is it gives you follow-up questions. So once you create a prompt, it's gonna suggest follow-up questions to help you dive deeper into your research. So asking it to, what are some of the top differences between public and private? Because we're gonna go over that. I want you to see that as your friend, and we do a lot of coaching around how to leverage that in your search, okay? So first, identify some industries that you want to target, whether it's tech, healthcare, a contractor, or something else, nonprofit. I think nonprofits might really like government as well. Very mission driven, both of them, right? So it makes a lot of sense as well. And Kelly, so the name of it is Perplexity. Let me see if I can type this in the chat. Perplexity. Oh, weird. There we go. That's my favorite AI tool for any kind of research. So, but ChatGPT is fine too, but I would play around with that. So, the next thing that we need to think about is how are jobs found, right? That's really, really different. And that is going to come down to three words, okay? Hidden job market. It's gonna get a little dicey, I guess, or fuzzy when you go from public to private, right? So, for example, if you're in the federal space, you can go to USA Jobs, and that's pretty much, as far as I know, one stop or nearly one stop shop for all the federal jobs. All the different agencies are on there. It's laid out very detailed. Here's the application, here's the salary, here's all the requirements, here's how long the posting will be open. You have a lot of extra information and transparency. I got to tell you, you're not going to have that in the private sector. This is where it's going to get challenging. And this is where so much coaching comes in. My entire curriculum is built upon the hidden job market. This is what the private sector is all about. There is not this one place where you can go and find your next job. It could be on LinkedIn. It could be on Indeed. It could not be on a job board at all. In fact, most of them aren't. That's why they're called. It's called hidden. This is not meant to um, necessarily overwhelm people, but it is about educating you that it's going to get a little harder to find your next opportunity. You have to do some digging, you have to do some researching, you have to do some networking. There's a lot that you have to do. So I have a three-step job search strategy called research, connect, and apply. It's about researching what is the right employer for you, what is the right job title, what is the right industry, what is the right company size, because these things matter tremendously. Then connecting with people at those target companies, or at least broadly speaking within the industry that you want to be in. Then applying as the last step, right? So it's not quite as clear. There's not one website where we go and it's all laid out for us. We have to kind of guess where these jobs are. And then don't even get me started on the salary. You're really going to have to guess and do some research on figuring out what you're worth and what your job, the market value for your job is. Now, there's a lot of resources out there, but we have to go to a number of them. And we also have to do probably some networking as well around that. So everything about these really is different. The private sector is known for being much faster paced. What might be considered an easy day one is like 4 hours another, right? Every company varies a little bit. Sometimes that's not always true. But for the most part, the pace is going to pick up in terms of the deliverables and what is considered a productive day, right? Um, the culture is just different. God knows the language is different. When I was in my government recruiting days, alphabet soup, it's like something you have to get used to. You just have to learn to love it, right? There's a lot of acronyms and different language that's a little bit stuffy in the government. We don't do that so much in the private sector. But we'll get into resumes in just a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. key is how you find jobs is going to be different. It's not as clear cut in the private sector. Um, it's you're going to have to learn how to get into that hidden job market. You don't know what your next job is. You don't know if it's even posted. Sometimes jobs can even be created, right? You may connect with a company through networking, through a connection, and they may create a role for you based on your skill set. That happens a lot, especially at the senior level. So it's a little fuzzy, you guys, right? But it can be done. You just need to understand that you're going to have to learn about the different job boards, learn about different groups that you can join, places where you can make connections with people outside of government. It's going to be a multi-step process. You can learn. It's just not as clear cut as it was in the federal space too. So Brianne, I'm going to read your comment really quick. Is mentioned, yep, dependent on federal funds as well, right? So we don't know, right? So there's a number of places that people could go. So some agencies are getting kind of more than others, right? So all of this, of course, is dependent on what you do, what agency you are coming from as well. But a lot of people will be moving into the private sector. So they may choose something that, nonprofits, things like that, that might be dependent on government funds, but maybe not. Maybe move into a corporation. There's a lot of different places that I think that you can go, and that is a consideration, right? Is this something that's going to be dependent on funding? So maybe it's not really going to be that secure. So that's where the research comes in as well to make a thoughtful move that will be good for you for the long term. So, all right. So that's the biggest thing I got to say is learning how to get into the hidden job market, which typically is done through networking, right? So I think one of the biggest tips that I would also give for the transition right now is how can you expand work outside of government? And there's a myriad of ways that you can do this. LinkedIn, of course, is amazing. LinkedIn is something that may not have even been that relevant for you working in the federal government. Now it is. It's used a lot more for networking and recruiting within the private sector. So that might be something that you need to kind of stop a little bit, right? And give some thought to it. You didn't really need your LinkedIn profile that much. You probably will now. It's still a very, very uh, tool for recruiting in the private sector. Even if it's not recruiting, it's used also as a job board. It's used to just make connections with people. You can use it to post content and be a thought leader in your industry. There are a dozen ways that you can use LinkedIn to help you find a job. And this is an area we do a ton of coaching with people on, and we write LinkedIn profiles. There's a whole lot that we do here because LinkedIn is a very, very underutilized tool. So I think my tip would be also dust off that LinkedIn profile, take a look at the key sections, which are your profile picture, one, your banner background, you want to have one customized, and has a little bit of your elevator pitch, your targeted job title on there. You're going to want to have a solid about section. That is like the new handshake or introduction. Oh, the new part of it, right? I want you to have a great about section. I want you to write it in first person, be conversational. We can let go of some of the language a little bit and just be conversational. It is a social media profile, right? At the end of the day, it is. And then look at your job titles. Can you find a way to slightly adjust them so that they are a little bit more translated into the private sector? And I can give you some examples of that in just a moment. So these are the things that we have to think about, right? What is my branding presentation and how is that going to change in the private sector? It's going to have to be concise, that is for sure. That is one of the biggest things. You have to be high value, high impact, and concise. And that is not easy to do, and that is not what is typically expected in the government because we know we have all these long proposals and RFPs and 14-page resumes, and all of that is out the door. Okay. So we're looking at concise writing on LinkedIn. I mean, just bullet points, scannable. We're looking at no more than a 2-page resume. And that is even if you are mid or late career, because work almost exclusively with more experienced clients who are, 15, 20, 25 years. We get it down to 2 pages because your resume is now a strategic marketing document. It is not a just full biography of everything you've ever done in your career going back 5 years. It's not. We're gonna have to truncate some of your older experience. We're gonna have to translate some of it. We're not gonna get rid of your government experience because we want it. It's valuable, but we might have to adjust some of our language and some of our presentation a little bit, mostly just so that people understand what you do. Because a lot of that government language is a little complex, and if somebody hasn't really been in government, they might look at it and go, "I don't know what this person does." So that is something that, we can help you with a little bit. Okay, okay, how do I rewrite this, right? So maybe I was a program management officer in the government. You're probably a director, right? That's probably in the private sector called something a little bit simpler. We also have our own made up job titles in the private sector. A lot of times, the customer success manager, right? Well, that's somebody who does like account management, oftentimes business development. You have to kind of learn the language in the private sector, just like the public sector has its own language as well. So let's see. So Brian, I'm not sure if you have a question. Volume varies. What is your go-to IT tool platform? I'm not sure if that was a question for me. Volume on what? So if you want to let me know how I can help you with that question. Um, but yeah, we're looking at a concise two-page resume. One other thing I want to say about the resume as well is it needs to have results. It needs to have, hopefully, if you can, quantifiable results in there. Now, we can't always quantify everything we do, and that is okay. But there needs to be specific, impactful results. So, for example, it's not enough to just say, I manage the federal compliance process. Okay, great. What came out of it? Did you reduce, regulatory risk by 30% or something like that? Did you create a specific program maybe that had a certain business outcome? Think about what the business outcome is. Did you save money? Did you save time? Okay, did you hire people? What happened? What came from the work you did? A lot of the government um, resume is about duties, it's about responsibilities, it's about just kind of overall, here's the things I did in a day. Private sector doesn't really care what you did in a day. They care what is the impact of what you did today. What is the bottom line? And it's usually revenue linked, but not always. Sometimes it's quality control. Sometimes it's reducing liability and legal risk. But try to attach some kind of specific, tangible, or quantifiable result to what you have done. That is really, really important. Okay. And you have to do it in really concise bullet points on your resume as well. So this is why it's challenging. So I want to say too, I want to normalize a lot of this. This feels challenging or overwhelming to anybody. You're not alone. That is why we help with this, right? That's why I want to offer, this LinkedIn Live and all of these things because it's a lot to learn. And the longer you've been in government, the more it might feel scary and overwhelming. And another characteristic of a lot of our clients, whether they're government or not, is long job tenures. Just having a long job tenure, I mean, 7, 10, 15 years at a company, and then having to go job search, oh my God, things have changed. Things have changed so much. Things have changed just since the pandemic and how we are finding jobs. AI is now part of the recruiting process, right? The hiring process is also lengthier, unfortunately, in the private sector as well. There's been a lot more cost hiring happening. Things have slowed down a little bit. I will say I am really, really encouraged though, so far in 2025. A lot of my clients are landed with an increase in interviews. That is happening across a lot of different spaces. So things are slowly getting there. Now I think is a good time to job search, at least compared to a year ago. I think it is a little bit better, but it has been a little bit tough. Um, so, all right. So, bottom line here, we got to learn how to get into the hidden job market. We got to start networking, making connections outside of government. We got to get that resume down to 2 pages. We got to get a concise LinkedIn profile that is attractive both visually and in the content. And we want to write it in first person, make it conversational, make it inviting, put a little bit of a human element in there. All have to be business and study. All right, so things just look and feel and sound a little bit different. All right, and as far as networking, I want to speak to that really quickly because that's a scary word for a lot of people. They don't know what that means, right? So I think that relationships are important in the public sector, and they are really, really important in the private sector as well. So I typically set a goal with my clients. If you are actively in a job search, I want you to be having at least 5 to 7 networking conversations every single week. You can find these by starting with just the people that you know. Activate your current network. Who do you already know? Who knows you and will get on the phone with you to offer you advice, insights, and recommendations? Specifically, who do you know right now that is not in government? What are your friends, your neighbors, your family members, any former colleagues, whoever they are that are in the private sector? I would get on the phone with them now and ask for advice. What advice do you have for me in this transition? What trends or insights should I be aware of? Based on your experience in the private sector, where do you think my experience might fit in? What might be a good industry for me to target? Start having conversations with people in the private sector to learn more about the hidden job market. How did they find their jobs? What recommendations do they have? There's a 3-step framework that I teach to clients with networking, and I basically just told you advice, insights, and recommendations. These are the 3 things that you want to be asking your network, that they are the cornerstone of your conversations. They don't involve asking for a job, they just engage your network at a higher level in a much more friendly conversational way. What advice do you have for me? What insights do you have about this company or this industry? Or what recommendations of companies do you have for me to target or other people that I could speak to in your network? Easy, easy questions to ask, but you're going to really, really have to ramp that up quite a lot. And start, if you feel like your network is sort of within the government rule, now is the time to really kick it into high gear and start finding people on LinkedIn or maybe even within professional associations. We have a lot of those in the private sector that can offer great career and networking opportunities and resources for all different fields. I've been a member of SHRM in HR because that's my background, and that has been very, very helpful for me in terms of professional development, meeting new people, connecting to job opportunities. So here again, go ask Perplexity or ChatGPT. Given my line of work and give it a snippet of experience, are there any groups or professional associations that you would recommend that I join that would be helpful for me to make connections outside of government? You're going to be amazed at what you find, guys. You're going to be absolutely amazed. Okay. The last piece, I'm going to scan through the comments and give you guys some freebies, right, and some next steps. The last thing that is really, really dicey is the salary negotiation. This is kind of like, again, super intangible and fuzzy. You have to do a lot of research. You might see the salary posted on the job posting. You might not. You might see a salary posted that has like $100,000 range, and it's a joke, right? Like, what does that mean? It means anywhere from 50 to 150,000. Thank you. That's not helpful. It's a real point of contention. In the private sector, I think it's getting better. Some states are rolling out some pay transparency laws, which I think is great. But right now, it's a mixed bag. Depending on what state you live in, you might have some pay transparency, you might not. So this is where you're going to have to definitely do some research. There are a lot of websites out there that can help you. LinkedIn has a salary research feature as well. You're going to want to go to a number of different websites. And I would also recommend talking to people in your network and getting some insights. Is this the right ballpark? Do you have even a guideline of what this might hey, where can I go to get more salary information? Because you're going to be expected to negotiate. It's not going to be clear steps and grades and levels and all of that. It's not going to be that, okay? It's gonna be a big guessing game and a big cat and mouse game as well, right? It's like the game of chicken in the negotiation. So it's really, really tough sometimes to know. And this is an area that we coach clients on. I'm also connected to a number of phenomenal salary negotiation consultants who can really do a deep dive for you. Brianne, what job board specifically should we consider looking at? So I would give you a few recommendations. I recommend you spend really only about 20% of your search time on a job board, and the other 80 networking, meeting people, and having conversations. Um, so broadly speaking, I mean, LinkedIn is a decent job board. It's kind of a networking tool first, but there, if you get the premium, and I don't get anything for saying this is just the truth. There's a lot of insights into jobs that can be really helpful if you leverage a lot of really like deep nuggets in there and extra features. But you can do a fair amount on the free version too. LinkedIn is one. Indeed is another. Indeed is kind of a big aggregate site. Now there's a lot of lower level stuff on there, but depending on what level you're at, you know, there are director level and above positions, but there's also more individual contributor ones as well. From there, I would recommend niche job boards for your industry. For example, if you're in tech, tons of tech websites, tons of them. Um, and so, yeah, some of you guys having audio problems. I'm not sure what that is. Yes, this will be definitely available as a replay. Absolutely. So hopefully that will be helpful. I'm not really sure if it's an internet connection issue on either side. Um, but I would say niche job boards. So whether you're in HR, whether you're in healthcare, there are a million niche job boards out there. Um, and all you need to do is go to AI and ask it. I'm in this field. What are the job boards that are available to me? But don't spread yourself too thin on that. I want you to spend a lot more time actually having conversations with people in your network as well and meeting new people as well. Okay. All right. I am going to look over this way for a moment, you guys. Did I miss any questions? Because I can't see all the comments over there. I got to. This has been amazing, though. So I'm going to ask my assistant Aries right now to pop a few links while I scan through these comments in the comments for you. I want to give you guys some free resources. I want to give you my guide, Accessing the Hidden Job Market. It has 14 strategies into the hidden job market. There's a link you can click. You can get it for free. There is no cost. I give so much away for free, guys. He's also going to share some links to I have a podcast that's coming out, an episode coming out on Monday, March 3rd, all about this. It's an even deeper dive into this topic. It's a two-part series. So March 3rd and March 10th. There will be a series all about navigating the federal layoffs. So look for that. It's called Career Rising. He's going to pop those links in the chat. Yep, and then there's the ebook that you can get as well. And I also want to let you guys know that I am giving a significant discount to anyone who does work with my team and I for resume writing or for coaching. If you are on this LinkedIn Live presentation or a federal employee, so anyone who's a federal employee in transition or just on this presentation, please mention this presentation and we will give a 15% discount on any program you want and free to choose from. And we do have payment plans as well. All right, so Aries is going to put all of that in the chat, and I am just going to through and see if there's anything I missed. And if I did miss it, pop it in the chat right now and let me know. Okay, great. Let me look a little bit at your comment. Struggling with where to consider sector. I feel like it's my only option, but it's not been my career. Yeah, here's the thing. The private sector actually offer a lot. You lose a little bit when you come from the federal because you don't have the pensions and some of the tenure and some of the things that are kind of guaranteed there. But I actually think the private sector can offer a lot of career advancement and variety and just upward mobility that the federal world really doesn't, because people change jobs more often, and when you change jobs, you make more money, and there's all these different industries and verticals. So I think that there are a lot of career exploration that could happen there for you, and especially I think you're in public health. Yeah, I think that being in healthcare, that's a phenomenal field. Looks like maybe you're a nurse too. I'm just trying to look at your acronyms really quick, but I think that's a great industry for you to be in. So definitely doing some research, talking to some people in healthcare in the private sector might be able to give you some ideas about where you can go. There's so much opportunity. I'm confident there's something that you're passionate about. You can, but it might take just a little bit of time to find it. Okay. All right. Who else do we have? I'm going to scan through while you guys keep going. We have a few minutes left as well. Let's see. Okay, we answered the job boards. Yes, got that. Let's see. Anything else? The name of the podcast. Yep, I'm going to type that in here. It's really easy, you guys. It's Career Uprising. Same name as the company and your last name, right? Do you guys like that? That little play on Lorraine Ryan's Career Uprising. That is on purpose. I have about 170 episodes. So if you go to careeruprising.com/podcast, I can type that right now. You will have the whole archive right there. And okay, there we go. Also, so like I said, March 3rd and March 10th, those are the two-part series are coming. So that's March 3rd is just one part as well. So I would love for all of you to ring the bell, follow me on LinkedIn if you are not already. I am also right now doing Federal Fridays. So what that means is every Friday, continuously for the next couple of weeks, I'm putting out a video with a tip geared just towards federal employees in transition. So every Friday, probably through all of March, maybe into April, you will see a quick tip on video on my profile. So make sure you ring the bell or even double ring it so you get notified, and you can participate in Federal Fridays. I am doing that for free just to help everyone who is in transition right now. The name is so good. Oh, thank you, Tammy. I do what I can. I do what I can. So, all right, you guys, we're almost to the 45-minute mark. This has been amazing. I would like for you to tell me what other questions you have or what has been helpful. Is there anything here that I missed as I kind of scan through the comments? Thank you for the comments, you guys. I see those images. I really, really appreciate it. And I would love to work with you guys. We offer resume writing, we offer coaching, we have 3 program options. I have a writer on my team with extensive federal experience as well. I have another writer with a nonprofit background as well. I have my experience. I have a well-rounded team that I have built over the last 10 years here. We are standing by ready to help you. But if it's not an option, if you are not in a place where you can make an investment, that's okay. I have a lot, like I said, a lot of free resources. Check out the podcast. Oh, one more thing I want to mention too, before I let you guys go. I also have a newsletter called Get Hired Over 40. There is a link to it right on my profile. I think it's in the featured section. It's permanent. It's called Get Hired Over 40. I have a new in-depth article out every single month. And the very next one that is coming out on March 5th, so mark that date, is a full-length article all about this topic. The month of March, you guys, is basically all about the federal stuff, okay? It's in upheaval, and I want to help, all right? So all right, I'm going to let you guys go. This has been amazing. I will also check out the comments. So if you guys want to continue to comment with any other questions, I will be checking to make sure as well. But I love you all. Thank you for coming. Please share, watch this recording on my profile, share it with somebody else who is in need. And I appreciate so much seeing all of you. Okay. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you on my profile tomorrow, actually, for another Federal Friday video. Okay. Take care, you guys.